All right, we're on location today. Second podcast in a row. We're joined by head coach Neill Collins. Thanks for being here. A little off-site location.
Yeah.
Here at Ease Brewing, one of our good partners, veteran owned. We had salute to service last weekend. They had some tastings at the game. So we got a beer. I got a hazy IPA. What are you drinking?
Pale.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Right on. All right. Well, let's get into it. What a performance last weekend. Last couple games. Nine goals, none given up. A big I mean, you go in. I was looking at the standings of the Jägermeister Cup going in. It's like, all right, Vegas won 2 games. I got a decent goal differential, and what a difference 90 minutes makes in the Jägermeister standings.
Yeah, I think we made the players aware of that. I think on Monday or Tuesday, it was an important match in terms of the tournament because they had picked up 2 wins, and it's going to be really tight. So it was imperative that we win on Saturday, following a 5-0 victory at home. Actually, very, very difficult. So huge credit to the players for they performed really well in difficult circumstances, and really, really pleased with the last 2 home performances.
Well, I want to talk about it because we've had, I think, the last 8 different goal scorers out of 9, I think, and 8 different assist men too. Like, it's been unbelievable. It's been everybody chipping in. And so I had a question from a fan after the game last match, just asking me periodically, didn't know you were coming on. He asked, well, is it easier from a coach's perspective when you have one guy scoring all the goals? Is it easier to pick the lineup, or is it easier when you have multiple guys? Like, what's better from a coaching perspective?
You always want your strikers to be scoring. There's no question that you want your forward players to be scoring, but I do think it's been very good for the team in the last 2 weeks with the variety of goal scorers that we've had. Ryan Spalding scoring his first goal for the club off a set piece. Michel scoring from midfield. Christian getting another goal, which is really important. Obviously, Russell coming back. I think go through the list, and I think I'd much prefer these guys to all feeling good, full of confidence. And I think we've scored 9 goals in the last couple of games. I felt that there's been previous games we deserved to score more goals. I think the performance and the stats show that. And then sometimes they all come. They all come at once. But hopefully the players, get that good feeling.
How tough is it to go and play a team twice in a row like that, where you beat them 5-0, right? And then they know that they beat, and then you have to play them again. You would think they would come in, and they played pretty well the first 20, 25 minutes, and then once the goals started coming, you could tell you guys gathered control. But how tough is that to approach a match from a coaching perspective?
A lot more difficult than people probably imagine. I think familiarity always makes it difficult. Generally, when you play the same team a lot in a close proximity, it becomes very tight games. I think that's why I think the players deserve a lot of credit. Listen, Jared made a couple of really important saves. Could have made the game more difficult, but it's not ideal having to play the same team so closely together. I think the fact that Vegas had a couple of games definitely played in our favour, but again, the players have to go out and take advantage of that. And after a slower start than we would have liked, they really kicked into gear, and I thought played some excellent football.
Oh, there was some. There were some plays that game that were unbelievable, and the one that I think of that wasn't a goal, and there was, Pirano's goal where he kind of faked, switched, and then came back and then fired, and then Cicerone's as well. Those 2 goals were really impressive. But the over-the-top ball from Jacker to Lewis Jameson, I think the play that Lewis actually had to come out on, went through the guy's legs and then went off the crossbar, was an unbelievable sequence. You can just see the quality, and it seems like the guys are really locked in right now in terms of everybody's kind of knowing what it's. I know it's one of those things that probably takes time. You got new guys coming in, everybody's starting to get on the same page in terms of who's doing what, and the guys running here. It just seems like there was all kinds of continuity all over the pitch these last 2 matches.
You think there's no question that you got a more settled back 3, which of course a lot stems from, I think, the back 3 or back 4. You don't want to be making too many changes there, and I think that's helped. I think that's helped everyone. I think relationships are starting to develop in other areas of the pitch. I think it's only right that you then start to see more longer passages of play. I think we've had some really good ones sporadically through the early part of the season. Now we're starting to get larger parts, but there's going to be a lot more ups and downs to come, a lot more challenges to come. But I think it's just good that the players are getting rewarded for a lot of the hard work that we're putting in.
You knew it was going to be, a hotter match. How do you approach that as a coach? The first 100-degree match of the year. How do you approach that going into the game?
Yeah, we spoke about it during the week. Tried to make sure that the players hydrated. I think that's a big thing. Hydrate. You need to prepare. You can't just wake up on Saturday morning and start.
I just spilled. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Talking about
hydrating. God,
right,
can't take me anywhere.
You can't just turn up on the Saturday morning. I've got a game tonight. The preparation starts long before that. I think it caught a few by surprise, even guys that have been in the league. Again, these guys are really fit the way they train. But once heat at that level becomes involved, it makes it difficult. Mm-hmm. It definitely helped once it cooled down, and we're looking forward to cooler evenings ahead. Kicking off a little bit later.
Yeah.
So best preparations, but come the night, it's tough.
Yeah.
We just have to hope that we can make it tougher for the opponent than it is for ourselves.
Yeah. It was funny. We were talking pregame, I don't know, maybe 3 to 4 matches ago, and I was like, yeah, we don't get a lot of water break nights, which we didn't on Saturday. And ironically, but that game, which wasn't, I didn't think it was as hot, but somehow we got water breaks. I don't know.
So
it's the wet bulb temperature, which is
right.
kind of confusing. It's humidity. You're probably familiar with that in Tampa because the humidity is way high.
So in Tampa, there was a lot of water breaks.
Yeah.
Whereas I think our kind of medical staff said we don't very rarely get the breaks. In the 11, the referee made a judgment call, and I felt probably on Saturday common sense would have prevailed that players probably needed one in the first half.
Yeah.
Our always thing is, can we benefit potentially? If not, because sometimes it gives the opposition a rest, and can we maybe take advantage of that? But I think it's definitely done for health and safety, and I think Saturday was a night that we could have probably done with a water break.
Yeah, you would think. And I just thought it was funny where I was like, yeah, we don't get them often, and then boom, hours later we got one. I want to ask about Michel Benitez, because you talked about having a back three that's consistent, and you started to get that. He has kind of started the season back into that role. We got to see him in the midfield last night, but it just seems like he's played left wing back, I think, a couple times. Like, he just seems like a guy who is happy to go anywhere, and he's so just can change depending on where he's playing. Got the goal on Saturday, which was good to see. But how big has he been in this early part of the season?
Huge, great addition to the squad, and again, someone that's came from Mexico, settling in period, young family, doesn't speak great English, but couldn't have settled in better, because I think the players straight away see the way he trains with great intensity, and the versatility was something that we definitely identified that the squad needed more of. Players that can play multiple positions. I think we're in a league where any league, but particularly this league, smaller squads, you don't have loads of young players to draw on. So someone like Michel, can plug him in and play him whatever. I think his best position is probably left wing back, left back on that left side. But we feel he brings a certain different dimension in the midfield, and I think. I'm really looking forward to seeing how he continues to develop, and just having that versatility is going to help us a lot.
You're the winger / striker position, when you've been kind of changing up your front three quite a bit with Russell being out with injury. He obviously got the goal Saturday. Pirano has been playing really well, but you've had now Lewis has been scoring a couple goals. Trevor Ammon's come in, scored in 3 straight games. So it's like you got lineups are tough for you right now, obviously. But how do you? Obviously, it's a good problem to have. But a tough problem to figure out how you're going to attack each week in terms of your starting 11 and your 18.
It's the best possible problem to have. Sebastian Herrera has been excellent, scored goals.
Should have had one Saturday.
And that was probably the most disappointing aspect about Saturday, was a perfectly good goal. It was called off, and that would have been I'm not sure if it would have been his 5th in a row, but it would certainly been another one onto his tally. I look at someone like Trevor. Played very few amount of minutes, but when he has scored goals, he's been very unfortunate not to have seen more of the pitch. But that's a reflection on Sebastian, Russell, how we feel they've done. So listen, I keep emphasising to the players that all they can control is when they get their opportunity to do well. A lot of them are doing that, and that competition is going to serve us well, especially over the next 2 or 3 months, because the strength and depth. It's going to be vital, and having lads scoring goals is good.
Yeah. Oh, it's always a good problem to have. And then you've had a pretty good. You got a little bit of a. We got Mazzola in the back who's been playing really well too. Vitiello's obviously been here a long time, and you got even a little bit of a challenge with those two guys trying to figure out. But it's been noticeable. You're wanting to get Mazzola in there when you can, and when he's got in there, he's been great.
Yeah, Jared. I think as far as the league goes, that's the department I feel that we're very, very strong in. I think it's a very difficult department right now for teams to find that level of quality, and we happen to have two guys. Danny's obviously a league veteran, coached against him when he was at Pittsburgh, and he's obviously done a great job here. But they both work extremely hard, and they're both pushing each other every day, and I think it's only right that Jared has the opportunity, because as I've found to my own cost, that if anything happened to Danny, Jared is the next in line, and they've got to push each other. So we need Jared to just be as ready, and just like every other position, they're competing. So Jared's performed very, very, very well in the games that he's had, and we're very fortunate. Bradley Johnson does a great job with both keepers, but we're fortunate to be so strong in that area.
We got a set piece goal on Saturday. And Lewis put basically two balls in the exact same spot. It seems like, and we've seen him take some corners, but especially from that right side, being able to whip that ball in, it seems like he's really kind of found his own. It seems like the set pieces are starting to come together too, as you guys, even if we're maybe not converting on all of them, you can see the opportunities and the threat that is there every time.
Definitely an area, Connor, that we need to improve, that we've focused on, we've spent time on. And I don't think we've had the rewards that we've maybe deserved. Like you mentioned, like we might not have had the goals, but we've certainly had chances.
Yeah.
So I'm really pleased on Saturday. The breakthrough came from that, and then a lot of good football came from the set piece. So it was good. The players all did what we asked them to do. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they maybe forget, but that's part of our job, is to consistently do those things well, and also show the players the value, and they do. They're starting to see the value in being good in these moments.
This is a tough time to ask you this. You just came off a 5-0 and a 4-0 victory at home. But what are some of the things you guys are still working on as a team as we head the summer months?
Probably the same as when we maybe had draws or losses. Like, we always reflect on what was good. So right now we're putting the ball in the net, where maybe prior we weren't quite as effective in front of goal. But then it's constantly about getting more of the good stuff that allows us to do that. The pass before that. Again on Saturday, probably for the first time we gave up a couple of higher quality chances than we normally have. I think we've been very, very good defensively. We've restricted teams a lot. So it's constantly that corner, and then you're looking at individuals within the team in little areas. And that's again where the players are brilliant, because you win 4-0 on Saturday, but it's the next game that matters, and what do we need to do well in that game? And there's probably a couple of things. So it's always just improving units, individuals, and the collective. And we're, as I say, Indy 11 was a tough learning lesson for a couple of things that we went through. I think the players have responded really well and shown those. There'll be another bump in the road to come, and as long as we respond in the right way, we'll keep moving forward well.
First time, and you've probably experienced this as a manager, not just in America, where you had 3 competitions: the Open Cup, Jaeger Cup, and USL Championship. How do you? I know we got 2 still remaining. We're at the top of the table in Jaeger. How do you balance those competitions, and is it week to week, day to day, on how you decide? Okay, we're going to go after this game. We're going to maybe rest guys. How do you balance that?
We try and win every game. We try and win every game. The priority is the league, but we want to win silverware. The Jägermeister Cup, the way it's set up, allows us to be aggressive right now, because it's not like it's midweek games, it's Saturday games. So I think that's been really, really good. So that, again, on Saturday it was a case of what team's going to win as the game, or what we feels going to win as the game, but also it's going to set us up for maybe more success down the road. Like Russell played as the 9. Sebastian had been back in Colombia during the break to get his family. So we just want to make sure that he's feeling good. So it's a lot of these factors come into it. But ultimately, every game we want to win. It's just who we are. But we also pick a team that we think allows us to do that, but also allows us to win the next one.
Right. It's definitely a balancing act. I don't know if you heard the chatter throughout the season on the podcast. There's been a lot of accent chatter.
Right.
Dominic Vonner came on and said sometime. Well, first he discredited his English, which is really, his English is great.
Excellent, yeah.
Excellent English. I don't know, and but he did say that sometimes, I think this was early on, so to be fair to him, that sometimes you're tough to understand. Pirano said the same thing last weekend. But there's just been a lot of chatter. Has that come back into the locker room? Have you heard those conversations come back to you at all?
No, but I'm glad that you've told me.
Well, don't get them in trouble on my behalf.
I'm not surprised. I think especially if I get angry or maybe a little excited, I could understand why Christian and Dom might not. But I think I'm pretty expressive, so I'm quite sure they'll know the general gist of how I'm feeling.
I think so as well. Yeah. Lewis, I think probably has the thickest, at least, well, definitely the thickest Scottish accent. But it's it's interesting to see. We got a lot of different accents on the team. Pirano came on, did some English last week, which is great. He's gotten a lot better, which is really fun. I want to ask about your family settling in here in Sacramento. We had our first 100-degree game. How was that for you, for the family being in the Sacramento weather? How has it been so far?
No, they couldn't be happier. Honestly, couldn't be happier, Connor. Like, from the minute we got here, like, the people in the club have made us obviously feel very part of it. Takes time. Kids have found schools. They're getting settled into their life. They love coming to the home games. Everything that we hoped it'd be and more. I think yes, the weather's starting to pick up. So that's again adjustment. But I don't think you'll ever hear me complain about the heat. All right, I can.
Me neither.
I can deal with that.
Yeah.
If that's the worst thing we've got to deal with, the sun being out, we can manage that. So they're really good, and they're just looking forward to, many more great games to come, and just being part of it.
I think it's pretty cool. You're coaching Blake Willie. And Blake's dad, Brian, who's an academy coach, been an academy coach for a long time, coaching your son. How has that been for you, kind of watching that transform?
Oh, it's brilliant. One of the best things about being a parent is getting to watch your kids play sport, be active. Obviously, watching my son play.
He's 11?
He's 13.
13.
Yeah,
13. That makes me feel better because he's taller than me, and I was like, if he's 11, I would have been worried.
Yeah, he's definitely taller than you. He'll not long, and he'll be taller than me.
Okay.
He's a big lad for 13, but no, he's playing under Brian, which has been great, and so it was honestly part of the decision in coming to Sacramento. A smaller part, but still a part of it, was knowing that they had this academy and the history of academy players coming through. My son loves his football, gives a lot to it, so it's been great that he's really settled in at the academy, and it's really good for me in my role, because obviously I get to kill two birds with one stone. I get to watch my son, but equally the academy is a big part of what we're wanting to build, so I get to see coaches like Brian, see the other coaches, see the players, be part of it, and that's something that we just need to keep building, is that first team academy, all being one, and improve it, continuing to improve it.
Well, and we've gotten to see a couple games in a row of Davian Kimbrough get to come in, and had a couple opportunities. We're everybody in the crowd's wanting to see him score a goal, obviously, but seeing him get opportunities has been fun. He's been so good in the academy level. What have you seen from him that has been able to give him those minutes?
Yeah, I think with Davian, it's just part of his development, pathway. It's very unusual to have someone at 15, playing at the level that Davian's playing at. But again, you can see he's away with both the US and Mexican national teams at under 15, under 16 level. He's ahead of his time, really, physically. So he's trained really well. The number of times he scores goals in training matches, we just felt it was a good opportunity to expose him from a learning curve as much as anything else, to be on there, feel what it's like, and he did some really good things and other things that show that people need to remember he's 15. So, Davian's got a bright future. I think for everyone, it's just about letting him just take that path, and because they've known about him for a long time, just not forget that there's a long way to go, and we just want to nurture him. And I think Blake and Jibby are both great examples of that. There's a process they have to go through. They play some games, and then if they do well, they'll play more games. But it just takes time.
Yeah.
And I think Blake's been a great example of that.
I know we got a big city council vote next week with some news and things on the horizon. How exciting is that from a coaching perspective to see where this club is going?
Yeah, I can't emphasise enough. I mean, I've got day to day, I'm only really thinking about the next game.
Sure.
But when you do get to see some of the plans and you do get to give yourself a moment to think, like, it just motivates you to want to make sure that we're going into that stadium as successful as possible team. It's going to be a huge carrot to attract, like, good players to this club, keep good players at this club. Like, we want to keep some of the guys that we've got. So just for me, I can't wait to be part of it, see the effort that Todd and the ownership and everyone else has put in. And I think we'll all just be really proud to be part of a club that's going to have such a fantastic facility. Yeah.
No, absolutely. We got a Brewfest coming up in 2 weeks, June 14th, Father's Day. Just, that's a weekend for you. You get to celebrate that. It's my favorite game of the year because that's when the crowd a little rowdier. I appreciate it. So it's a good time that we're here at Ease. I believe they'll be doing a tasting at that as well. They were at tasting on Saturday. But anyway, before we wrap up, I wanted to give you the opportunity to ask me a question. I didn't tell you about this again. This is my fault. We should really do this in don't ask me why I can't handle my beer, apparently.
Yeah. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to think. What has been your favourite goal out the last 9?
Oh, that's a great question. Wow. It's a really good question. I think it was the Prano one for me this last game.
Okay.
Because of, he hesitated. He thought he was going to go one way, stopped, came back, and then fired through the guy's leg. The guy defending him had no clue what he was going to do. And I think he could have done anything at that point, but the way he handled that. But very close second was Russell's, just to the level of the. And you can just tell, like, the guys are, they're just they're just in an attacking mindset. Yeah. It's fun to watch. It's been a blast. I mean the crowd level these last 2 games, and it's been hot, so people are a little tired. But man, when we're scoring 4 to 5 goals, the place gets rocking. So that would be my answer, I think.
That's good. Not long, mate.
Are you enjoying these games when the team's playing like that, or are you kind of do you more focus in? Yeah.
Yeah. No, listen. Enjoyment and coaching are not 2 words you sometimes put together, but deep down, absolutely. Yeah. There's been a lot of the team that I've really enjoyed. Even when I look back to like Louisville, Colorado games that finished obviously disappointingly, but during the game I enjoyed the way that the players played, getting the rewards with the goals. I really enjoy it. You mentioned a couple of the goals. I enjoy it. I feel that you're not going to win 4 or 5-0 every week. It's just not realistic in Division Wars. But I want to have a team that can and that do it, and the fans feel that they can do it. So hopefully we're building towards that. Yeah.
The team has been just the last 2 games have been so fun to watch. And credit to Vegas, especially early on in those games. Like they're flying up and down the field as well. They're able to counter, and then it just makes the game, when the game's going up and down, it's a lot more fun for sure. But yeah, the enjoyment question, I liked your answer. That's good. Is it more of like satisfaction? Because when you score a goal, it's satisfying. You want to celebrate, but you're still you haven't gotten the 3 points yet.
That's right. There's some goals that are a little bit more satisfying in the time because you realise their importance of maybe winning that game or getting back in the game, however it may be. Yep. For me, the 5th goal in the league game was so satisfying because 4-0 up and the willingness to win the ball high and then just Roro with a great cross and then Trevor with a great finish. Again,
I forgot about
that. The players recognising that they had both like an assist and a goal. They didn't start, but they still ended up with what they both really crave, and that's what we need. We need more than just 11 that start, and I think the players have seen that over the past 2 games
for sure,
and through the season that just because you're on the bench, you can still come on and make a big impact.
Well, I feel like my answer was a bad answer from your standpoint because it was a lot of like individual effort, which is great. But there's been a lot of great team goals too, and you just mentioned one of them.
No, that was honestly you might not know, but how we won the ball for Christian's goal.
Yeah.
Lewis Jamison, great pressure.
Yep.
Forced a mistake, and Christian was the one that gets the headlines. But in many respects, it was a team goal, just a different type.
Yeah. But are you like a team goal a little more rewarding when multiple guys get involved? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. But I think like for Christian, I feel that I was really, really pleased for him because it's been a lot of work on how we get him scoring more goals, and I think he's been very unfortunate not to be on the score sheet before now. But there he got his reward, and hopefully he can get that's 2 goals for the season. I think it could have been more, but let's hope that he builds on that.
Yeah. We got 2 more games at home in the next 2 weeks. Good opportunity to continue to move up the table. It still feels like, I know it's June, but I don't know why, but it still feels like it's really early in the season. How focused does those wins make you guys on continue to climb the table?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the Jägermeister, the Open Cup, it's not had the same flow. We've only played nine league games. Some teams have played 3 more, which is obviously a lot. I think the 10-game mark will give us a half an idea of where we're at, but like you said, 20 games left. There's a lot of football to be played, which is good because I hope that we can just build on what we've already done.
Yeah. All right, head coach Neill Collins, thanks for joining us here at Ease, and thanks for having a little bit of beer with me. Cheers.
Thanks.
Cheers on that.
Cheers, Scott.
Hey, thank you.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Appreciate it.